Hi, I'm Sa'i Nyangi. Welcome to WrestleTalk News on Sat-E Day.
Support WrestleTalk!
Get exclusive bonus videos over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk.
Before we get into the real news, get a load of this relatable dweeb. Adam Cole did an interview recently with Case Lowe from Q101 and revealed that he once avoided getting a kiss from a girl because he wanted to watch wrestling. He said, "We had no way out, Rey Mysterio versus Randy Orton, and I had already seen the match, but I wanted to watch it on DVD, and she was trying to kiss me. And I said, hey, listen, not right now. I got to watch Rey Mysterio vs. Randy Orton. So what wrestling match would you not kiss someone to watch? Let me know in the comments down below. It could be Strong Style, King's Road, a death match, or a Divas pillow fight. But if it was me, a Divas pillow fight would really get me in the mood to kiss someone and do something more. Boston Crab! Camel Clutch! Tombstone Pile Driver! Tempest, what moves would you do that will get you in the mood?
The Cobra.
The Cobra! It's Survivor Series this Saturday, and the WrestleTalk crew will be at Hooked On screening of the pay-per-view in Shoreditch, doing a live reaction from the pub, which will likely be headlined by the OG Bloodline and CM Punk taking on Bloodline 2000 and Bronson Reed. War Games! We posted our prediction for the show yesterday, which you can check out by clicking the video in the description. And the comment section is alight with ideas on the finish to the match, with ideas such as Seth Rollins to The Rock getting involved. The Bloodline drama has dominated SmackDown for the last few years, but grew in size in 2024 with the inclusion of Gorillas of Destiny and Jacob Fatu. Throughout the year, there has been rumors and reports of other members of the Bloodline family tree coming into the WWE, like Zilla Fatu, Hikuleo, and Lance Anoa'i. And according to Fightful Select, it looks like Lance should have made his debut in NXT before now. In his Q&A section, a Fightful Select backer asked what the latest on Lance Anoa'i was, to which Sean Ross Sapp replied, "When I heard that Lance was signed by WWE, it came with unfortunate news. They weren't expecting him to be cleared to wrestle in 2024, and it was looking like early 2025 before he could." Following Survivor Series, WrestleVotes Radio are reporting that the OG Bloodline will remain a faction after the show is done, saying they will remain somewhat connected. They added this group will continue all the way through the winter, into the Royal Rumble, and things of that nature. Things of that nature, likely meaning WrestleMania, unless WWE has a new PLE called Things of That Nature that I've not been alerted about yet. Ollie Davis and Luke Owen speculated the direction of WrestleMania could be Punk versus Roman, but WrestleVotes added that Punk is not expected to be involved in this Bloodline story following Survivor Series. But also after Survivor Series is the 10-year anniversary of New Day.
New Day.
New Day rocks. 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 I got ahead of myself.
Sorry.
Bless you. But also, after Survivor Series, the 10-year anniversary of New Day episode of Monday Night Raw. This is an angle that WWE have been building to for several months now. And the heavy reports are this will see the on-screen return of Big E, outside of being on pre-show panels, of course. And according to WrestleVotes on Twitter, there are multiple ideas presented for Big E's appearance on Raw. They added, we'll see what WWE has in store for the group as a whole as we approach Monday. Now guys, as we're coming to a close on this news section, and before I throw to this sponsor for this news, which is indeed Wrestling Masterclass, next up I have to introduce my guy who's gonna do the AEW Dynamite review. He is the GOAT around this place, the beautiful masked man. Look at his beautiful baby blue eyes, all the way from Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, my heart, my love, Tempest B, Canada. Bring it on here, baby, bring it on here. That's the love. And of course, the camera goes.
Huge shot and a cover. 2, 3.
passion as a pro wrestling commentator? Wrestling Masterclass is now more affordable than ever, including stacks of high-quality HD video lessons, insider podcasts with top industry experts, in-ring seminars, downloadable worksheets, and so much more from the likes of Will Ospreay, Al Snow, Raven, Mike Chioda, Dutch Mantel, and many others. Our courses outline the precise actions needed to achieve your goals faster than your peers, and so much more. Scored an average of 9 out of 10 by people who have taken them, begin your journey into the business today from as little as just $77. Scan the QR code or visit WrestlingMasterclass.com now.
Hello, I'm Tempest, one half of House of the Black Mask, and this is my AEW Dynamite review in about 5 minutes. It's Continental Classic season, baby! And to get things started off, we have Mark Briscoe versus the gold standard Shelton Benjamin in the Blue League. Tony, why was Shelton not put in the Gold League? Just swap the two leagues. It would make way more sense. MVP hops on the mic and calls Shelton and Bobby Walter Payton and Michael Jordan, so I suppose that would mean that there are 3 MVPs in the Hurt Syndicate. MVP said it's not about him, but about the lessons they teach. MVP says the youthful exuberance of Swerve turned to arrogance, but at Full Gear, Bobby Lashley beat that arrogance out of him. He said that they are merchants of misery, and their mission statement is to win titles and make money. This was a great promo, the kind you would come to expect from MVP, and I'll tell you right now that we hurt people. We hurt people chant is really getting over. You watch out for that one. Mark and Shelton traded shots on the outside during the early goings of this match, but then Shelton cut Mark off with a throw off the top rope. They traded loads of big shots, and Mark even managed to hit the froggy bow, but he was too hurt to make the cover, which allowed Shelton to recover, hit another of the meanest super kicks in the business, and then the T-bone suplex for the win and his first 3 points. Mercedes Moné got brought out to the stage, and she started doing her business. She put over Chris Statlander, but then before Mercedes was able to fire Camille told her to shut up and told her that she quit. This actually got a much bigger reaction in the building than you might expect for the lack of emotional weight that has gone into this partnership, but the Chicago crowd chanted "You deserve it" at Mercedes, and personally I just hope that this means we get more great matches and less shenanigans from Moné going forward. Chris Jericho versus Tomohiro Ishii was up next, and they promptly returned to their back and forth chop fest that started 2 years ago and honestly may have never ended. It worked then, and it works now. Ishii used his fighting spirit, Jericho used his dirty tricks. Last time, Ishii made Jericho's titties bleed with chops. This time, he made Jericho's mouth bleed with strikes. Ishii's face swelled up bad, but a Judas effect and a code breaker only scored Jericho a 1 count. Ishii mounted a brief comeback, but Jericho hit another couple of Judas effects for the win. This was a good match, but nowhere near the quality of their first match, and didn't get close to the reaction of the last one either. Backstage, Swerve was getting interviewed and Max Caster walked by laughing, and Swerve called him out. And Caster tried to start saying that Swerve used to be a house of fire, but turned that into house fire, and upon the reference of his home being burnt down, Swerve beat Caster to a pulp. I love this as a reminder that even in defeat, Swerve is absolutely not someone that should be played with, and I love it because Max Caster got his ass beat. That's a fucking win-win to me. Tony Schiavone brought out Hangman Page and asked him what he was doing when he attacked Christopher Daniels and got involved after the main event of Full Gear. Hangman said if Christopher Daniels gets in his way again, he will knock him down and he will not be getting back up. He said his goal has always been to be the AEW World Champion, and at Full Gear, he struck a deal with Christian and he kept up his end of the bargain, but Christian couldn't keep his. If Christian had, then Hangman would be World Champion. He said that title shouldn't have been Swerve's, or Joe's, or Brian's, or Mox's, it should be his. At this point, Hanger was interrupted by Switchblade Jay White, who asked Hangman what happened when they wrestled at Full Gear, and what happened when they wrestled at WrestleDream. He said if anybody should be wrestling for the AEW World title, it should be him. At which point, White was attacked by Pac, and Yuta attacked Hangman, with all of the Death Riders descending upon White to take him out, and White managed for a brief moment to nearly hit a Blade Runner on Marina Shafir, but this only led to him getting choked out by Jon Moxley and beaten down by the rest of the group. Thankfully, this led nicely into our next match, with Claudio taking on Ricochet in the Gold League. Apropos of nothing, it was at this point that I noticed there was a woman opposite the hard cam with a Listen Up Slapnut shirt.
Just wanted to point that out because that's awesome. And Luke Owen couldn't be here to do it. People were most interested in chanting one thing for this entire match, and it was this. Meanwhile, an actual good wrestling match was happening here. I say good, these lads seemed very much not on the same page for quite a few moments of this match, but they are so good they managed to pull through. Ricochet managed to do a backflip off of Claudio's shoulders, which was the highlight that was getting clipped and shared around Twitter and Blue Sky, follow me there, throughout the night. There were also some miscommunication spots, however. Ricochet hit the slowest suicide dive ever, as Claudio was probably meant to catch him, but they both just slowly fell down. They both seemed very frustrated with the bald chants, but Claudio managed to get the win with a big lariat. It seems like Claudio is getting a bit of a push with wins on back-to-back shows, and I am more than okay with that. Before we get to the rest of the episode, we want to thank everyone who has donated to our Movember Just Giving page. Because of you, we've raised over 120% of our target, and it's down to fine mustaches like these. Kyle Fletcher and Don Callis were backstage, and Don said they work in the business of getting ahead, and that's what they did at Full Gear. Kyle said now they look ahead to the Continental Classic, and that is a tournament that he is going to win. I don't know if he's going to, but a good showing is a must. Adam Cole in the Kingdom came out and said that when he gets his hands on MJF, he's going to beat him within an inch of his life. He is interrupted by Kyle O'Reilly, and Kyle told Cole that he tried to fight MJF and it didn't work, so let Kyle try. Cole said that what Kyle told him last week stuck with him, and that it has to be him to put an end to it. They bicker, and MJF pops up on the screen while playing the piano to say that he's not interested, and what he cares about next is the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal. Cole and Kyle both announced their entry, and I'm telling you, man, this program is just not working. I like that the Battle Royal is being used for this. I think it makes more sense than just another jump through MJF's hoops story, but I just don't think the interest is there for these matches at this point. Jamie Hayter defeated Queen Aminata in their qualifying match to see who will qualify for their match at the Women's International 4-Way at Wrestle Dynasty. They actually had a very good little match, but you wouldn't know by listening to the crowd. Queen Aminata is so great, and it's nice to see Jamie Hayter on Dynamite again as well. I want nothing but the best for both of these women. It's about time that they start getting behind Queen Aminata as a real player in this women's division, but that would require them to highlight this women's division more in general. Hayter won with the Haterade, and as she celebrated, a lone spotlight shined down upon the stage. No one came out, so this was just spooky mind games. Renee interviewed Mina Shirakawa, who said that she always knew that the day would come that Mariah would turn on her. If this is the real Mariah, then she's going to introduce her to the real Mina. It was then that Mariah broke a champagne bottle over her head and whipped her with the title belt. It was announced that this is the match for Winter is Coming in 2 weeks, and it'll be the biggest title defense Mariah will have had to this point, which is an exciting prospect. Then it was main event time as Brody King took on Darby Allin in the Gold League. Darby looked like he was falling apart physically, with his ribs and his leg taped up, and somehow I doubt the doctor's recommendation was a match with Brody while Darby was in this condition, because holy shit, Brody threw him pillar to post, slamming and crushing him every which way. At one point, Brody missed a cannonball into the barricade so hard it knocked out the broadcast and the commentary. Darby's eventual comeback consisted of a code red off the top rope, his patented suicide dive, and a pair of coffin drops from the top to the floor. And my God, the second one, I could see the light leave Darby Allin's eyes. He lost years off of his life. You don't need to be doing this, my guy. But when Darby went for the third, Brody caught him in a choke and hit the Gonzo bomb for the win, securing 3 points. From there, Claudio emerged and grabbed a chair, but before he could get in the ring to attack Darby, Brody got back in and stood guard. The baby facification of Brody King continues. They announced next week would be Brody and Claudio, and the show ended. I love the Washington connection, that now Darby and Brody are frenemies. That is such an exciting development. Overall, there was a lot of good wrestling on the show, and the Hangman segment helped to add some much needed context and direction to the current world title scene. But this was an episode absolutely dominated by the C2. On one hand, that's great because it means lots of wrestling matches that all have built-in stakes. I love a tournament, and I am very much excited for these matches, but If I am being honest, the lineup for this year's tournament does feel a little bit mid-card. Not everyone in the tournament falls under this distinction, of course, but last year's tournament was very fresh and had guys like Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Jay White, Swerve Strickland, Eddie Kingston at the top of the heap. It felt like that tournament was what most of the top guys in the company were fighting to win, whereas now the top guys are more or less limited to Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada, the latter of which we haven't even seen for a while. Now, this could mean that the tournament is being used to highlight and elevate some of the other members of the roster, like Kyle Fletcher, Shelton Benjamin, and Brody King, and I very much hope everyone comes out of the tournament better off for having been in it, but in the meantime, it does feel a bit more like a tournament for a mid-card belt than it did last year. This episode of Dynamite gets a 4 out of 5. Now make sure you go and watch Ollie Davis and Luke Owen give their predictions for this Saturday's Survivor Series pay-per-view, and we'll see you there for our live reactions to the show. New Day rocks. 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 New Day rocks.